My name is Russell Scott and I'm a producer at Swinburne Astronomy Productions. And to my left is Sam Morefield, and he was the lead animator on this project. For this project we've collaborated with ACMI, and it's a project on Mars, and we're using real Mars data. Interestingly, in this case, ACMI had a very clear vision of what they wanted, and so there didn't actually need to be a lot of inter-discussion about how we would work together, because the curators had a very clear vision of what they had planned, and it fit very perfectly into what we tend to have expertise in. We're 3D experts, and we've been doing 3D for about 10 years. And so, in collaboration with their need for a space film, the need for something on using real data, and also 3D, it was that perfect fit of all our skill sets.
So the concept of this film is to take actual data that was recorded from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter and turn that into a film. So unlike most Hollywood interpretations of Mars, where you invent a landscape and make it red, we're actually using data that's accurate down to about 25 centimetres per pixel, which is something that hasn't been seen before. In this example, we fly over a terrain. This is actually where the Curiosity rover will go.
The high-rise data, which is the very accurate data that we've got, it really is, it's like a photograph from Earth just on Mars. There's so much information, it's quite astounding that scientists have actually managed to take this sort of information, because it is so detailed.
We're not trying to drill information or tell you specific facts about Mars, we're just trying to help the audience to experience what the Martian surface would be like, I guess, to our best understanding of it.
I mean, yeah, picture speaks 1,000 words. Mars has a very particular atmosphere that is very non-Earth-like, and so you have to try and match that as well.
Yeah, so we use environmental modelling software to try and mimic how the atmosphere of Mars works, and also we need to colorise the terrain to give it that Martian look. Then we have to build virtual cameras and fly them through the terrain, and finally rendering after that, which we use the supercomputer that we have here. Half the work in this film was actually trying to interpret raw data. So we're talking about information that normal 3D animation packages can't handle. As an example, one terrain might be 50,000 pixels wide image. One single image might be a gigabyte's worth of data. Now, to pass that through a computer to render is no easy task, and we've had to employ new software to actually visualize the information.
You always have a fight between the narrative of the story and the data that you need to be showing accurately, and the filmmaker wants to make the most exciting film irregardless of what data needs to go in there, and the astrophysicist wants to make sure that you're not lying to the audience. And so it becomes a very delicate balancing act of making sure that everything you're saying is true, but the narrative still flows. This is not a gimmicky 3D, we're not throwing things out in your face. What we're doing is we're showing you, if you were there, you would see in 3D. And so that's what we've tried to do, is use the 3D in a way that helps you imagine yourself being on Mars.
With all the 3D movies that have come out of late, sometimes people lose appreciation for how powerful the medium of 3D can be. I think when you see something that is enhanced by the 3D format, it can really bring it to life. So seeing a 2D picture of Mars is one thing, but actually being able to understand the scale of what you're seeing is something that's unique to the 3D format.
We write the script ourselves, and we then run it past the astronomers to make sure that things we've said are accurate. And that's actually, it's quite a difficult thing, because you can take a complex topic in astronomy and you can simplify it in ways that you think are absolutely fine, but you'll use particular words that scientifically change everything that you've said. And so you have to run it past the astronomers to make sure that your simplifications aren't actually incorrect. It is reasonably unusual. We actually tend to be sort of self-employed, in the sense that the content that we make generally goes into the theatres that we have relationships around the world. We tend to do occasional outside work. I mean, we've done an advert for Nickelodeon, Dora the Explorer advert. We're tending to look towards the TV and IMAX market as well, but generally we work for ourselves. I started out doing engineering, and I was questioning whether I should be doing engineering, and I went and saw this film called The Matrix, and at the time I knew nothing about it, and I saw the film and I thought, actually this is the sort of thing I should be doing. And so I quit engineering and became a filmmaker.
Well, I started off at Swinburne as a university student, studying multimedia. After my first year of university, I started what they call a vacation scholarship program with the Centre for Astrophysics. As part of that, I worked for 10 weeks learning the basics of animation. And from that, I got part-time work and then a year of industry placement or work experience, which contributed to my course, after which I started working full-time.
When Sam did his summer scholarship, I mean, he was already, after 6 months of work at uni, he was already better than the people that were teaching him. Sam was absolutely brilliant when he started, so we sort of, snapped on it pretty quick. I mean, one of the things that Sam generally does is take the concept and make it artistic, because it's one thing to use data, but it's another thing to make something look beautiful. And that's part of what Sam's role is, to come in and take this base idea of, hey, we want to show Mars in 3D and we want to use real data, and actually translate it into something that is a film. It's not just a piece of images.
Well, I guess one of the joys of working on this project was that we got to see Mars like we haven't really seen it before. We've had a vague idea, I guess, of what the surface of Mars might look like from the Opportunity and Spirit rovers, but I guess this new data allows us to see different areas that the rovers couldn't get to, and to see, I guess, the variation in different landscapes that are present around Mars. I think people will find it really amazing to see this stuff because it hasn't been seen before.
The scientific community is grappling with in terms of space exploration is, do we go to Mars or do we only need to send robots? And that's one of them's getting sent very soon, Curiosity, which is featured in the film. And it can do a lot of things. Now, at the moment, humans can still do a lot more, and they still have a much better sort of processing power in terms of what the decisions they can make on the ground. But 10, 20 years' time, how good will robots be that we can just send them to find out our information without us needing to be there? I think we should still be going to Mars. I mean, it's still you send humans there, it's a completely different type of task, and it's still a thing that we will learn lots from trying to do. So I'm all for sending humans to Mars, but also the question that follows on from there is, how good will our robots be in the future? Will we actually need to send humans? Can we just send the mechanical things to find out the information that we need? At the moment, the humans, the sort of the brain power of a human is much better than a robot, and so the decisions they can make on the ground will be better than the sort of the robots that we make. But 10, 20 years' time, it might be that the robots are fully capable of making the decisions on the ground that they need to.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'd like to be the first person to go there. I don't need that title. But I think space exploration would be a very exciting thing to have in all our futures.
I do think it's important that we still aim to go to Mars. I still think that it's a noble goal, and I think we should be trying to do that. But whether or not I want to be the one spending the 3 months out there, probably not. As a day trip, yeah, it'd be great.
I really think people are going to find this film amazing because it gives us an insight into Mars that we haven't seen before.
I think people will get both knowledge and just a wonderful experience by seeing this. They'll get to see what the new rover looks like, they'll get to see where it'll land, and they'll actually get to feel like they're on Mars. So it's going to be very exciting.